Morning, Michael. How are you?
Good in.
Good man, Michael.
Is Ballydoyle very different for Aidan O'Brien than the Aidan O'Brien we see, say, in an interview like this or on the racetrack, where you're always charming, you're smiling? At Ballydoyle, is it effectively a military operation?
Yeah, no, I don't think it is, but like there is rules and regulations now set by the government in whatever country. So everybody has so much time to work in the morning, from morning to lunch and from lunch to evening, that you can only work those hours and times. So everyone is very conscious of that. We've a lot of work to get through, and every minute is used. Like we've a massive staff, but it's hard to believe that we've so many people and everybody is kind of full time, flat out doing their job every day. So like really we would want it in such a way that nobody would be under pressure, but there's no time wasted, if you know what I mean. And when there's a lot of horses working in the morning like that, you don't really have a lot of time to waste any minutes really. So it does work very well, I think. And obviously I'd have to do my own stuff, I'd have to do my exercise and...
Hold on, what's an Aidan O'Brien's exercise
yeah,
routine?
Yeah, no, well I would do kind of 3/4 an hour every morning when I get up first, because I've always had a very weak back, so I would have to keep that strong.
So Aidan O'Brien goes into the gym at 3?
Yeah, at kind of 3 or half 3, whatever the
Running?
time is.
Or walking, stretching?
No, yeah, all that kind of stuff, yeah, the usual kind of stuff, really, but I have to do that. And if I do that for the day, then I can work through the day, and if I don't do it, my back would come back against me, and then I wouldn't be able to keep doing my job. So it's just a fact of life. Like obviously I'm in a very privileged position that I can do that. Morning, Kerry.
Morning, Ed.
How are you?
Good, Ed.
Good man. Nice morning, Kerry.
Yeah, it is not too bad.
Good man. Morning, Adrian.
Morning, Ed.
How are you?
Good, Ed.
Good man, Adrian. Good man. Morning, Satar. How are you?
You know, after the race, it's become the stuff of legend now, you reeling out the names. But is that because you feel so strongly that this is a team ethic and you want those people to know that they are part of this team?
Yeah, no, but the reality is they're the people who make it happen, and there's an awful lot of people around those people that are involved in every horse. Obviously, I don't get to mention all the names, but they're usually the people that are very closely, directly in contact with that horse at that time. But there's a big team around them that are working full time with every horse. That I don't mention, and I only say their first names because the people that who I'm speaking about understand, and their families understand who they are. So like I would want everybody to know how grateful we are to them for making that happen, because obviously they see the sacrifices that everybody puts in day out at home, where other people wouldn't see. So when those people's parents or grandparents or cousins or uncles or aunts, that fathers or mothers are watching it, they know when I say the name who the person is, and that we really appreciate everything they've done.
But a man like Pat Keating, he's 100% in it. He's the guy he'd take the bullet, wouldn't he? If he'd be the one who'd run across and take the bullet for you like he's 100% Aidan O'Brien. He is your man, your team.
Yeah, like Pat is a very special man. He's there with us all from the word go, and people that work underneath him learn a lot. About the way it should be run, how professionally it should be done, and there's no nonsense and there's no pussing when it goes wrong, and that when the pressure comes on, he just takes it on the chin and moves on. And like they're the kind of people that are hidden in there that I never talk about, and you know, so
he's kind of family, isn't he? At the end of it, he's almost family.
Yeah, like listen, like Pat knows, like everyone is doing their best, and it doesn't always happen to the right all the time, but when it does, he changes and moves on.
You first, I read, went to the Breeders' Cup in 1990. Do you remember that experience? And did you ever think at that day, do you think, I want to come back in here and conquer?
Yeah, not really. I don't. I purposely try not to think about too much happened yesterday, the day before, or whatever, because I always say it takes away from going forward. I would remember when things go wrong, and if we made mistakes with something, and if things work, I would remember it then. But the things that happen, either good on the day, I don't, because it's past tense and it's no good, and if I'm thinking about that, it's stopping us from going forward, and that's the way it has always been.
What type of mistake could you make?
Oh no, so we make loads of mistakes every day in everything. We might work horses too much, run them the wrong trips. We might travel them wrong, or so obviously you're learning all the time. But like we make loads of mistakes, Matt, all the time. And
But there's an element, Aidan, you don't know it's a mistake, do you? Like the horse might get beat. It might not be your fault.
Yes,
But
no.
you could then say, well, I've galloped him too much.
100%. You don't know whether it's a mistake until after it or not. And then if it goes wrong, you often, it's analysing what happened and why it happened. And then you might realise it was a mistake. But obviously, at the time, you're doing your best to do the right thing. But when you analyse it and go through it, it mightn't have been the right thing.
Of course, last year, Aidan, the whole of the Breeders' Cup was dominated by City of Troy. It didn't come off for him in the Classic, but does that still just make you even more determined? What did you learn from that experience?
Yeah, I learned, obviously he broke quick, and maybe I should have said to Ryan to be more aggressive from the gate. I said it to Ryan to let him jump and then give him a chance, and I was just conscious I didn't want to cut his throat. So obviously the Americans were very fired up. The first 4 furlongs of that race were 44 seconds or something, and when we had a chance in it before, it was kind of 47, 48, all was in the Classic, so everyone was really fired up. And maybe with the benefit of hindsight, I might have went back and said to Ryan, maybe when you come out, Ryan, just go forward and be a little bit more aggressive. His eyes filled up with dirt very quickly, and that really was a no-go then. There are things you learn every year. I think for a European horse, you have to be aggressive. You have to be close to the pace, either behind it or on it, because it's very hard for them to adapt to so much sand coming back so quickly. And usually horses, if they're going to handle that, they handle it, and if they're not, they don't ever handle it. But you would see a lot of American horses, they try be in a position where they don't get it. Whether they're slightly out or they're close, you know. So listen, that was just one of those things, and listen, I just didn't get it right what I said to Ryan, really.
Why do you think Giant's Causeway went so close?
He was very hardy horse. He had miler's pace. He was very determined. He had a lot of gate speed. He was very quick into his stride all the time, and he was very down.
Here comes Giant's Causeway for Ireland on the outside. They're coming into the final furlong. Tisdale tough as nails. Giant's Causeway on the outside. Giant's Causeway and Tisdale battling head to head. A heart-pounding, pulsating stretch drive, and Tisdale prevails.
He was obviously very exposed from, like he ran 3 times at 2, and he got tough racing at 3, so he was a hardy customer. So yeah, and listen, Declaration of War I think was just beaten in it with Joseph as well,
yeah.
And on the dirt as well, he sat close to the pace, and yeah, it was. And I remember Joseph saying to me, if he had got him to change in the straight, he'd have won, but he didn't change over in time.
It's sometimes hard for fathers to talk about their sons, or parents to talk about their children with too much glowing terms, because you don't want to sound as if you're just saying you've got amazing children, whatever. But Joseph and Donica, I mean, Joseph was a champion, Donica, champion. Like, I feel they never quite got the credit that they deserved for their talent. Like, they were really, really good jockeys.
Yeah, they did very well, and they were very young, and like really, I often feel a little bit embarrassed about it. They had to grow up very quick. They never kind of experienced much downtime in their life with us, and that's the way we were. We were always working, and they just went into that. They took that part of their life very quick and very early. And listen, obviously they would have been, as young fellas, they'd have been under a lot of pressure, but long term, it did them no harm. They knew they had to work very hard, and they had to focus on what they were doing. And but listen, it was, for us, it was great to be able to give them the opportunities, and obviously I was delighted that they were able to take it. And but it, like, obviously they had to grow up very quick, and that's the way it was. And they were big men, so their career was never going to last very long. As obviously as they got older, it got more difficult, and it couldn't last doing it. So, but for us at the time, it was great. It was great for me. I probably didn't have to explain as much to them as I would have to everybody else, because they wrote all the work. They were there every day. They wrote out every morning. It was a big help to me, and they spoke a lot of stuff to me, and I would have learned a lot from them, because it was 24 hours, 7 day a week, really.
How difficult was it? Like, obviously the good days are great, but if a mistake comes or something, and you know it's a mistake or whatever, and they know it's a mistake, how difficult is that as a dad jockey combo, father-son combo.
Yeah, no, it wasn't difficult for me because I knew it would happen. It was because it does happen. It's a fact of life.
Yeah.
But for them, it would have been tough because obviously it would have been around the time of starting of social media.
Yeah.
And you know how tough that can get. And they would have been young and they'd been in the middle of it and they'd had to guide their way through it. And what they had to do, they always had to rise above it. But obviously, it's easy to say that. And when you're very young, going through it at their age they were at, it wouldn't have been easy. But they worked hard, and that's what got them through it.